put in place. Do join us for that. Our sign language interpreter is Meresha Owiti, and I am Akisa Wandera. See you in a bit.
We know you want the news.
You want it when it happens, and you want it fast.
Politics,
Entertainment,
sports, and business.
lifestyle, and the arts.
We know you want it all.
Hii game ni jasho. Hii game ni moves. Hull City versus the SportPesa All-Stars. Broadcast live from the KCOM Stadium in the UK on Monday, the 27th of February at 9:30 p.m.
Welcome back. You're watching KTN Newsdesk. Many thanks for staying with us. One day after the KMPDU officials were released from prison, there are no signs that negotiations to end the doctors' strike are being held. Let's link up with our senior reporter, Rita Tinina, who will be joining us live from our city center studios with an update on the issue. She will be joining us in a short while from our city center studios. But let's go back to our top story of the hour, which is a case before the High Court that is currently underway of human rights activist Akisa Wandera wanting the ongoing voters registration exercise extended until June, and the case, of course, is currently underway at a Nairobi court. Wandera argues that the exercise, which officially ends today, should continue until 2 months to the general election. Let's listen into what is happening in court.
It stops them from trying to say that those orders were not capable of being understood or whatever, or they did not apply to the mass registration. In response to the Attorney General, my Lord, I would like the court to, first of all, before I respond, to record it that the Attorney General and the IEBC have submitted that they are not what they call, there will be registration continuing. The only difference is at what venue will it continue. Will it be at the constituency level or at the ward level as they're doing it now? And so if that's the case, it is good because then the people can still maybe have an opportunity to register.
I didn't get that.
My Lord, I'm saying that there was submission by the Attorney General that the continuous registration has not been terminated, and there was no attempt to terminate it, irrespective of the correspondence that went out from the IBC all over, that this is still open and available at the constituency level, the constituency offices.
Have you attached that?
There was submission here, my Lord. Maybe you could clarify.
No. You're okay.
There's something in there replying affidavit also to that effect. So, and then they've said that with the data admission, the basis, that's paragraph 5 of the replying affidavit, paragraph 5. And so,
Which paragraph 5? Which paragraph?
it's at paragraph 6, my lord, are saying that they've been doing that progressively. In the discharge of this mandate, the Commission and the various stakeholders have been continuously taking initiatives aimed at progressively registering qualified persons to vote in any future elections.
Human rights activist Okia Omitata giving submissions in court on why the IEBC should be compelled to extend the mass voter registration exercise to 2 months before the general election, arguing that Kenyans will be locked out from exercising their right as stipulated in the Constitution. And of course, we'll be bringing you more details on the same. Let's now take a look at a story, our stories that we have been covering on Drought Diaries, our continuation of our series stories on the drought issue in various parts of the country. Children in drought-stricken areas have borne the brunt of the drought ravaging several parts of Kenya. In Marsabit, 20 out of every 100 children have been hit by severe malnutrition. Our reporter Sharon Momanyi came face to face, with the families of these children, and now reports in our continuing series on Drought Diaries.
An orange flag flies at the Lepedera Primary School in Marsabit County, signaling that the drought cycle has hit alarm. It's lunchtime, one of the more cherished moments for these elementary school children. Food is scarce, making this meal even more enjoyable. Lunch provided by the school feeding program is about the only daily meal for many of the children here. But food stocks in schools are dwindling fast. Soon, the flag might be flying red. Hassan Ali is a teacher at Bala Primary School. The ongoing drought has made learning harder than usual.
Hii harsh climate ndio inafanya hata hiyo grade yao iwe chini. Ukosefu wa maji ni uhai. Na mtu kama amekosa maji hata kusoma inakuwa ni shida. Sometimes inatubidi tufunge kabla ya saa 6 watoto waende lunch kwa sababu hakuna chakula na hakuna maji.
For the children in this arid county, schools are an oasis of hope. But the lack of rains and scarcity of water to cook jeopardizes this very backbone of learning here.
Wakifika hapa kwa kampa, mtoto kama amekuwa dhaifu, amekosa chakula ama nini, walimu wataangalia hata kwa mfuko yao. Lakini nyumbani tukirelisa waende, whether wazazi yake hawako, whether wako, hiyo sasa sisi hatutaki kujua. Itakuwa kazi ngumu kwa sababu mtoto anatoka distance mbali. Wewe mwalimu umetoka 9 km, mtoto ametoka 10 km, namna gani unaweza kutravel uende kwao tena?
It makes us wonder how life is for the children too young to go to school. It's dinner time at El Bor village. Sadia's children have their eyes fixed on the fireplace. Some crying of hunger. But not much is cooking, just black tea from the little water available to take them through the night. It's a difficult time to be a mother.
It's gotten bad. There's no food and no water to drink. Like now, it's dinner time, but there's nothing to eat.
Dida's second wife has been sent to Moyale town, 160 kilometers away, to borrow food from their friends.
Lakini manye iko watoto moja mbili, kidogo naomba hata sisi naenda kuomba hiyo watu. Kwa kilo moja ama nusu, sisi naishi tu na hiyo. Hiyo kama napata kwa mchana mara moja, napigia watoto, jioni hakuna, wakati sapa hakuna.
20% of children under 5 years old in Marsabit are at risk of acute malnutrition. 4 of Sadia's 8 children are a part of this statistic.
Serikali ya Kenya kila siku sisi nalia. Sinasikia tu kwa radio vile nchi hii yote. Kila siku nalia kwa FM. Hakuna saidizi inakuja.
I want to assure them that nobody is going to die of hunger. We are addressing, we have upped our program. We will now zone out all our regions into bits of wards and so that address, have a focal person that deals with issues as they arise.
Food has always been a scarce commodity for many families like Dida's, but the current drought has made life even harder.
Well, it's 10 p.m. here at Mzee Dida's homestead, and I'm sitting here with Rukia, who's just become my friend. And it's just about bedtime for Rukia and Sadia's 7 other children. But they go to bed only having had 1 cup of black tea. Their parents have only had sorghum the entire day. And it's really heartbreaking to watch. We've been here 4 hours. The reality of drought and famine is as real as it can get here. But this is their life every day, every night.
Naomba tu Mwenyezi Mungu awatie sisi mvua isimalize hii watoto. Hiyo tu mimi naomba.
Sharon Momanyi, KTN News, Moyale.
Our reporter Sharon Momanyi there with our continued coverage on Drought Diaries, the situation as is down at some of the county levels. And joining me in studio now to just help us discuss and understand this issue and some of the things that are put in place to ensure that this does not happen again is James Sangawa, the Director Operations Support at World Vision. Thank you very much once again for joining us. And we've seen Sharon's story, James, and it's not the first. We have been running these stories since Monday, but World Vision has been on the ground even before this drought situation began. How would you describe the extensive situation in various parts of this country as far as drought is concerned?
Thank you. Thank you, Akisa.
Yes.
I want to say that the situation has been bad progressively from last year, August.
Yes.
And what happens is that currently we are having 2.7 million Kenyans who are affected in 23 countries. And World Vision Kenya is intervening in 15 of these countries. Basically, we are doing food assistance and resilience building initiatives because we believe that although the current drought has been very bad, it wasn't expected to be this bad, and the situation is looking very well. But we believe that it's a learning lesson, and therefore how can we be able to ensure that we build the capacity of the communities to be able to go through this particular drought and also prepare well for any other eventualities that comes later on.
This happens year in, year out. If it's not floods, it is drought. What are we doing wrong?
Well, we know that the effect of climatic change is real worldwide. And even as we speak about Kenya, the whole of the Eastern African region is currently affected, including Somalia and Ethiopia. So the human activities have eroded our environment. So this is the chief and the main reason why we are where we are. But basically, coming closer home, I would say that our ability to put in long-term measures has been tested over time. And so basically, the way forward is to make sure that we build the community capacity to have resilience coping mechanisms. And I would want to talk about livelihoods, because when we look at the areas that are mainly affected, these are pastoral areas. And we need to therefore look at how can we scale up the proven initiatives that already are showing results. And one of them that is critical is water. Because when you provide water, we know that pastoralists and even agro-pastoralists are able to
manage their livelihoods with very little external assistance. Secondly, we need to educate people and so that they can understand that they need to diversify their livelihoods. And thirdly, partnership is very key because, you know, when you address an issue like drought, like the one we are going through, partnership coordination is very critical. So if we put our hands together and pool our resources and our abilities, then we are able to make sure that we go through this.
Talking about the relief food assistance, you've said that you're doing it, but on the ground, are there any other avenues that you're using to try and get to the people apart from relief food assistance? And have you seen even the government, while on the ground, doing the same?
Oh, for sure. Apart from food relief, we have cash transfer. And the cash transfer basically is meant to empower the family to be able to make choices about how they cope with the consequences of drought. So basically what World Vision is doing currently is to support families with cash transfer on a monthly basis. And we are doing this with the support of World Food Program and the government, of course. And this has proved to be quite helpful for the communities on the ground.
You said you're in 15 counties, but about 23 or more counties are affected. How did you reach out to the 15?
World Vision Kenya has got an elaborate plan on how we get into communities where we work. We are child-focused, Christian-based organization, and we do assessment before we get engaged into communities. So 15 counties are those counties that we have prioritized in our strategy in terms of long-term interventions. So basically we look at the data in terms of vulnerability of the children, and we target where the vulnerability is most. And of course, when I talk about children, there are children within these communities, including women and the elderly, because in terms of our strategy, we are more concerned about reaching the most vulnerable. So that then basically explains why we are in these 15 counties.
Which are these counties where the vulnerable are most affected, where the situation is too dire?
Yes, currently I would talk about 5 counties, and especially where World Vision Kenya is putting greater focus. And these are 5 out of the 15 that I talked about. These are Kilifi, Taita Taveta, Makueni, Baringo, Turkana, and the Marsabit counties.
These are the worst affected. Just paint for us a picture of what really is the situation in these 5 counties that you say are the worst affected.
Just like we've seen in the clips, we're talking about counties that the water sources have dried. And you know, water is very critical because apart from the human being, the livestock, which is the mainstay for these counties, water becomes a critical issue. So ponds have dried, water ponds have dried, children have dropped out of schools, and of course there is no food, or very little food, if any. And so the families have lost the ability, really, to get food. And the malnutrition rate is progressively becoming worse among the children. So basically, those are the manifestations. And of course, this then brings in the issue of security. We see resource-based conflicts progressively growing and increasingly becoming more and more intense. And so in a nutshell, we are talking about communities that have become helpless, you know. Their coping strategies are not able to keep them going. And so they are actually virtually helpless.
You mentioned something very important, some of the ways we can cope with this, and one of them is improving capacity of individuals and societies. What are we saying? Has this not been done, or they've tried doing it, or you have tried doing it, but it has not been effective?
I would say World Vision Kenya has got a track record and examples of interventions that have worked, especially around building the community assets. And when we talk about building community assets, it's changing their mindset in the first place, because you can't really change people's livelihoods if you don't change their mindset. So we have done this before, but then we are saying that when a drought of this magnitude comes, then it means that the scale of mitigating the impact becomes more. And for me, as far as our future is concerned, then how could we? We need to explore how best we can be able to upscale the promising practices that already we have seen working around, and basically that will make us become more prepared to face the future droughts, because we know that they will keep on coming and it's predictable. And so the idea is, how then do we upscale the good practices that are already going on?
Right. Thank you very much, James, for coming in and helping us understand that. Preparation is the key, as James says. James Sangawa is the Director of Operation Support at World Vision. Once again, thank you very much for making time for us. But away from that, let's now get into politics. ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi is optimistic that NASA would soon name its presidential flag bearer for the August general election. Speaking after receiving several defectors to the party, Mudavadi said NASA would remain strong even after picking its flag bearer. He was speaking in Nairobi this morning. All right, we'll definitely be bringing you that clip of Musalia Mudavadi's meeting with the defectors later on here in the Bulletin. Police in Muranga have impounded bang with an estimated street value of 300,000 shillings. 2 men and a woman were arrested in the operation. Area Police Boss Alex Masharia said the male suspect has previously been arrested in connection with a similar offense and is out on bond.
Askari yetu ya National Police Service wote waliungana wakaja operation ya kutafuta hii bangi. Siku kama ya Jumatatu hivi tulipata information kutoka kwa watu yetu ya National Intelligence Service kwamba iko mtu anauza bangi. Tuko na majina ya watu kama 4 na mmoja yao ni huyu. Tulipata hiyo information na tukaelezewa ile area anafanya hiyo kazi. Hatukujua sawa ni nyumba gani, lakini watu yetu walichunguza na wakajua nyumba hasa ambayo inafanya hiyo biashara. Wakati tumepata hiyo information, our assistant county commissioner akiungana na askari yetu walikuja hiyo operation. Bahati mbaya walikuta vijana 3, mmoja akiwa msichana, wamejifungia ndani ya hiyo nyumba. Wakati waliamrishwa na askari yetu kufungua, walikataa. Ilibidi wafunje hiyo nyumba, ndio wakawapata huko ndani wakitengeneza hiyo bangi.
ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi today received defectors with a message saying that NASA will remain strong even after they named their flag bearer. I was speaking at their offices here in Nairobi. Let's take a look at how that engagement went about earlier in the morning.
Perhaps for another fortnight, if they can. They did not pronounce themselves on that day, but they had our petition on that matter. But it is true that the offtake of identity cards throughout the country has been very poor. The other day I was in Kibra, and I went to the center there, and there were about 2,000 IDs which had not been collected, and they were lying there. Now, if you multiply that with other parts of the country, it means that there are so many ID IDs still pending in various centers. And this is something that needs to be looked at very, very carefully. We also raised with them an issue like when you say you want to clean the voters register, how well are you connecting with the registrar of births and deaths? Because this is another window where you may find in certain areas, people may say we have cleaned the register by removing the dead voters. But in other areas, the dead voters remain on the register. So until you can even wonder whether certain zones, there are more people dying than in other areas. So this kind of detail, we also asked the IEBC to come clean and tell us whether they are in good and working contact.
And still on politics, a section of KANU leaders from West Pokot County have declared their support for President Uhuru Kenyatta's re-election. Senator John Lonyangapuo and former Communication Minister Samuel Pogisho have announced publicly their support for Uhuru Kenyatta. The leaders are speaking at Kongelai in West Pokot County during the official opening of KANU office in the area. The leaders distanced themselves from the association the KANU Secretary General Nick Salat has had with NASA.
Tumeamua kuja kuketi chini na kuweka sisi pamoja tuketi kwa chama cha KANU. So nataka niwatangazie wenzangu, hiyo ndio msimamo yetu ya KANU West Pokot. Tumeongea na mwenzangu Gideon Moi, tafanya hivyo kuongea na president. I don't care. Kurubu mwingine hapa katikati watasema nini? Ndio. Na nataka sasa mwaka huu President Uhuru Kenyatta, kwa sababu anatusikia sasa, tumeongea na yeye juzi, ametuomba kura kama watu ya KANU, na nikamwambia msee, hatutaki road blocks na toll station.
KANU ni imara. For now unajua KANU bado tuko katika ile inaitwa Jubilee Coalition ile 2013. Hiyo haijavunjwa. Kwa hivyo uhusiano wetu sisi na President Uhuru Kenyatta bado ni ile direct, kwa sababu ya uhusiano ambayo ilikuwa ni agreement ya KANU na coalition.
And as the country grapples with the biting drought, the United States Agency for International Development has organized a campaign to sensitize farmers on the storage of cereal. The campaign, which included holding a roadshow, was graced by KTN Home Germany actors and seeks to encourage farmers to use hermetic bags to control weevils and other pests. The organization seeks to find one storage solution in order to end hunger and poverty globally. The roadshow was held in Kitui County, which is among many regions that have been hit hard by drought.
I want to believe this will be a solution to our farmers' problems, because we have been facing a number of challenges with storage, and among the top loss is the loss by weevil. Apart from losing the other pests and rodents, the biggest challenge is storing this food for the next season, because we only dispose of because of our intent to make sure we don't lose. But with this technology, we'll be able to store even to 3 years, and we'll be able to sell at a better price, because what happens is we destroy it at the first onset season after we harvest.
Maize losses post-harvest are in the region of 20% in Kenya. This means a loss to the farmers that grow it. It means often they don't have enough maize to take